Hey everyone, I just want to make a quick video tutorial. Basically, a friend of mine asked me, how do I make my tokens? Because they look cool, they look on point, all that jazz. And he said, is there a process to it? Or do you just like throw them together? The honest answer is I actually follow a process that I learned from a friend of mine, and the friend who taught me this is actually really, really, really good at what she does. Even if she doesn't know she taught me. But I'm going to walk you through the process. I've refined it myself. There may even be a faster way, but for right now, this is the fastest I've found, and it's pretty good. And I'm not going to go too fast. I'm going to walk you guys through all my shortcuts and little processes so that you guys can do it. And I will include a link in the description that will have the template I'm going to make today, which will have all the named layers and all that jazz, so you guys can come in, you can learn, you can edit it yourself, and hopefully not be as awful as I am. And this is about my third or fourth recording today. I've had some awful experiences with this program today. I don't know what's going on with it. Some of my normal bugs aren't occurring, or they are, and I don't know why they are, but we're gonna move on from that. So we're gonna go token template for you guys today, and I like to do 1000 by 1000. Default screen size is 1024, or I think 980. I could be wrong, but it's about that. So that's what we're going to use. We're going to create a new layer, and the purpose of this layer is actually so that way we can get a nice transparency. And if you've ever used Photoshop in the past, you're probably very familiar with this process. It works really well. But we're going to create a little ellipsis here and get our general design going. Now, one of the processes I use is Shift plus Alt, and this allows me to uniform scale out an ellipsis. So you start dragging, Control Shift to get it to guarantee a circle, and then Alt to start scaling from your default location. And see, that allows me to draw out an ellipsis. If you hit Control plus T, we're just gonna make sure that this takes up the entirety of the screen. We are using red today. The image I'm going to be making with a token today was also made by the friend I spoke of earlier, and she's an amazing artist, and I feel like this is a good way to pay some homage to her. Homage. I don't know. It's a good word though. Way to sound fancy today. So basically we have our ellipsis 1, and this is we're actually going to name token ring, because this is actually where 9/10 of the magic is going to be done. So we're going to quick rasterize that layer, and then we're going to duplicate it. Oh, hold on. Step back. I don't want to rasterize it yet. We will rasterize it later. So we're going to duplicate it right now, and it doesn't matter what we name it, but we're going to call it smaller ring, just for the sake of you guys being able to see what I'm doing here. And the reason for that I'm not rasterizing it is the smart objects maintain a circle when you shrink them, and I'll show you that here right here. So so I'm going to click the top left corner, Shift Alt again, and you can see the circle within the smart object. That is your new ring. So you drag this down as far as you want. So if you want like a really fat edged token, and you would want the image to be right here, we'd use that. But for right now, I usually use like a nice kind of midland. So we'll just do like, that's not too bad. I can work with that. So we'll do that, and then we will apply the transformation, call it a day. And with this is where stuff gets kind of cool. So we're going to magic wand tool. We're going to select, once I rasterize it, we are going to magic wand tool the Control D. That was a Control D to deselect, by the way. We are going to select the smaller ring outside, then click on the bigger ring. And what that's going to do is allow us to delete that intersection. As you can see, it's now gone, and I just hit the delete key real quick. Now we can actually delete this smaller ring in its entirety, and then Control D to deselect. Now see, that gives us the token ring. Now to get the cool effect we usually use, this is what I do. And it's a really easy setup. You don't even have to mess with the numbers or letters. We just click on bevel and emboss, and most people are like, well, how do you get the perfect numbers? Honestly, max scale, max depth. That's it. That's all I do. 0 soften. As weird as it sounds, look at that. Perfect 3D cycle of some craziness. And now the color schemes aren't that great. So usually for whatever color scheme you're doing, based on whatever image you're doing, you're going to change the shadow and the highlight. For me, I like to do, for what we're doing, we're going to be messing with a kind of a chibi, cartoonish Femme Scout. So I'm going to do some dark, like blood red for the shadow. Let's go a little darker. Give some nice shadow effects on around the edge of the ring. And for the lightning, we don't want bright ass white, but we don't want the other. So I'm actually gonna try and see if I can't get a nice brown out of this. And I don't know the color schemes by heart, but we're gonna see if I can't get a nice little brown out of that. And you can kind of see how that's coming together pretty nicely. But we're gonna go even lighter than that. We're gonna go like a nice fuchsia pink, maybe. No, a little darker. A little darker. There we go. So that's not the greatest. I'm sure you guys come up with a better color scheme. You guys can mess with this if you want. It does add some nice texture effects. You can see where it kind of like twists it, alters it a bit, gives some nice bumpage. You know, whatever you want to do. That actually, I might leave that because that looks actually really cool. Whatever works for you. So we're going to leave that. Bevel and Boss. The trick really and honestly is just max depth, max size. Don't even really have to touch anything else depending on your color scheme. If you just want to do a basic black ring and leave the black-white shade, you're Gucci. You just start with that and leave with that. So that's it. We are done with the ring. Your ring is done. That's all you got to do. Now for the image, this is what we're going to do. We are going to import. No. We're just going to open it. We'll do this default. So this is the image I was referring to before. I removed the background, so if you guys ever, like, I know a lot of people remove the background, they want to add their own little custom design. That's fine. I mean, you could open that one, add a little custom design to it, and then import it. But I'm just going to do as if you had already done that, and skip that whole process, because I'm not going to walk through making backgrounds. Y'all know how to make backgrounds. Y'all aren't children. Maybe some of you are. But we're not going to mess with that, so come on. Oh, I was still using the selection tool. Whoopsie. Noob artist is noob. Alright, so Control 0 to go out to the max distance, and this way we can actually, once again, get that general size, and we're going to make this size match. Regardless of what it is, we're going to make it work. So, I already grabbed a square, so yours might not be a square, so you may have to do some finagling in here. That's why I don't use Control 0, or I mean the Shift Alt trick for uniform scale. Mine was a perfect square. I could have, but I didn't. So we're going to put this beneath the token ring, obviously. And now that I've got it perfectly where I want it, I'm going to grab that top corner, I'm going to Shift Alt, and I'm going to uniform scale it until it kind of sits where I think it should. And that actually looks pretty good for a token, in my opinion. But hey, we all have our own opinions. So I know what most of y'all are gonna ask me. It's like, hey, but Nova bro, you know, there's some corners there that kind of look like crap. Well, actually, remember that trick we used before to cut out the middle ring? It actually works really well on everything from this point on. And now that we have the perfect size, we're just gonna click back, Control X, and that deletes that. So create a new layer. Control Shift V, and that is the paste in place shortcut. You can also find it by going Edit, Paste Special, Paste in Place. And we're just going to delete the extra because we don't need the extra. Extra is extra. Now I find sometimes by doing this method you're left with a little bit of a ring. So if that happens to you, you can easily just Control T, Shift Alt, drag it a little bit bigger, and then reposition to suit. So that does that. Or another way to do it, honestly, if you don't want to do that, and like say it's like, oh, it's like no, Nova bro, it was the perfect size, it fit perfectly, I don't want to do that. It sometimes doesn't always work out that way. So what I do sometimes is I like to, because I do a lot of solid colors in my backgrounds, sometimes it's honestly just as easy as going in here and going add a stroke. So that won't work for every background. So a lot of times what you'll have to do is you'll have to make it work You'll have to rescale it. Sometimes make the image a little too small. That way when you scale it a little bit up, you'll have that extra couple of pixels. And that's just kind of finagling it in there. But the process is pretty quick. And in actuality, that's it. You guys have done the entire process. So we're gonna, well, that's it. You've done it all. That is the entirety of the token. Now, so what we have is a 1000 by 1000, and we're just gonna create a new layer real quick, drag that down so that way I have the new layer selected, and ta-da! You have a badass token. The process is quick, simple, easy to the point, and we're gonna save this out. Now, for most part, this is the token ring. This is the image layer. This template is pretty simple, and you can poke around with it. And I'm gonna create, I guess a template for it is kind of pointless, but yeah, that's it. So if you're in my channel, thanks for stopping by. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, of course, leave a comment down in the comment section. And if you liked what you see and you want to keep going, smash that like button and subscribe on the bell, and you'll get all future updates. I do a lot of gaming here, a little bit of art and different things now and again. I haven't uploaded anything recently. I do apologize, but glad you came by, and that's it. Nova out.